and welcome to the Women's Cut. I'm Jay, that's C-Way. Let's get started. How you doing, girl?
I'm good. I'm good. Happy hump day.
Um, yes, very much so. And to get this out of the way, make sure you guys like and subscribe. If you like what you are listening to, what you're seeing, if you follow us on socials, great. Come on over to Spotify, come on over to Apple, come on over to YouTube or Facebook. We're everywhere. Episodes drop on Thursday. All right.
Please. Thank you.
Yes. All right. WNBA continues to go.
Yes.
And be very good. There's been some very competitive games. Now, this week to me has not been as competitive as previous weeks. We saw the Lynx put up hefty numbers, put up some hefty numbers this week. We saw a game for Dallas that Paige said everybody needs to get their money back.
Yeah.
So how are the games for you this week?
I think this is kind of like what we call in running a taper week. Sometimes you gotta bring it back to really go forward. And I think based on kind of the competition this week, it makes sense. You have Minnesota playing the Mercury, and the Mercury have really been struggling. And Minnesota, shout out to Cheryl Reeve. Can I just say, I'm gonna continue to put respect on Cheryl's name, and I'm gonna stop questioning Cheryl. On today's day, I'm not questioning Queen Cheryl. I didn't know why she went about the draft the way she did. I thought I had all the answers. I'm gonna shut the hell up when it comes to Cheryl. And I just wanna wake that up. Cheryl, my bad. You know what you're doing. I'm trying to get where you are. I'm gonna shut the hell up. Anyway, Minnesota definitely played the Mercury, and I mean the Rook is in rare form. They're just the whole team is in rare form. So that game wasn't that competitive. And Dallas played Seattle, and the game was just chaotic and whatever. So everyone knows that wasn't whatever. But I think in the games yesterday also kind of had that same flavor. Mystics played Chicago, and Chicago looks a hot mess. And the Mystics beat them without Sonya, so that game wasn't going to be that great. The Dream in Connecticut actually was a good game up until the very end. I actually think it was they were giving each other some go. It was pretty good. And then you had
played each other really tough though. Like they, it's some teams that I don't know what the matchup is. Whatever it is, they play each other really tough.
They did, and then I think the Aces had to get back with LA, and so they kind of
also, like you said last week, they ball so close to the sun, and they did not have their emotional and physical leader on the court, and it showed. It showed.
They need Kelsey.
Kelsey Plum is just so difficult to replace.
Yeah, physically out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about this conversation that people are having about now I don't agree with it, but the conversation right now is that Olivia Miles should have been the number 1 draft pick.
I just think people just refuse to understand that, like, being the number 1 draft pick, there's more to it than just skill. There's also fit. And when you have a draft where there's people who are very not similar in skill set, but similar in skill, they're both very skilled players at what they're skilled at. Teams at that point are going to pick what they need. And I think Dallas did not need a point guard. They have Paige that can run the point. She runs the point often. They were able to pick up veteran point guards. They got who they needed. And that's a knockdown shooter and a person who can get to the mid-range. Cheryl Reeves really wanted a true traditional point guard. They have been running Courtney at a 2 for years now. They wanted to get up off of that. And yeah, like is this concept hard to get? Am I tripping? I don't feel like this is I don't feel like this is hard, but you let me know. I don't know. Yeah, and of course, there's certain generational players that you won't pass on no matter what the fit is. And we've seen that, like there definitely are those type of players. However, I just think in this draft, I'm not saying that AZ or Olivia Miles won't turn out to be generational players. We don't know, but that wasn't necessarily the conversation about them. They're just very, very skilled players that were in high demand. And I think they went where they were, where they were most needed.
Yeah, and again, we're kind of rehashing this conversation about um Dallas was in a very unique position. They were
Right.
bad last year and then they completely retooled where they were not. You have your star player who is your longest tenured player taking less money because she wanted to build that team. Enrique on record said everybody wanted to be here.
Right.
Everybody wanted to be here. People took less money to be here. People chose to be here. And I think that people need to understand that when you're building a team, we're not just building for social media fodder. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? We are building so that we can win games, so that we can go deep into the season, and so that hopefully we can win the championship. And I think that that's what all of these teams are ultimately trying to doing. Well, most we'll
I
discuss
don't know
that.
about all.
Most, most those
Yeah,
who are in the top 10 right now are definitely those who are trying to win
for sure.
games.
Yeah.
So, I think that we need to respect that. And to go back to your point, we definitely said we don't know what the Lynx are doing right now. And I'm gonna be honest, this that team's gonna look scary when Fee comes back.
Yeah. I mean, and that
That,
just goes to show you when you don't become Cheryl Reeves by accident. And sometimes when you're that level of brilliant about what you're doing and what you can build out, get out of people, you're gonna get out of people things that we may not see coming. That's not to say Cheryl's always been perfect. We've seen that Jessica Shepard probably wasn't moving to her fullest ability under Cheryl. Look what she's doing now in Dallas. But one thing about Cheryl, she knows how to win and have a winning program, no matter if they win everything or they just get to a deep playoff run. And I think what she's doing with this team without Fee just shows that Cheryl Reeve is a winner.
yeah,
And you can't build that, you can't create that, that you either got it or you don't. And I think to your point, Enrique, everyone knows that she's one of the best players in the league. That's not what she's trying to prove now. Now she's trying to prove that she can win in this league. And I think that is, if you're on Dallas right now, that is the messaging. I feel like we're trying to win something, we're trying to do something bigger than ourselves. And AZ was a part of that program.
I agree. Um, Speaking of winning,
Yes.
there is a team that is not. The Sky are currently on a 5-game losing streak, and I want to know, friend, did you see this coming? No. Yes.
Did I see it coming? Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me make this abundantly clear. And I think this is what I think a lot of people who've either have not been in the arena and are Sky fans, season ticket holders, or like me covered them all last year. The way the Sky moves, they do not have the pieces, the groundwork, the materials to build anything that is sustainable, anything that will win. And this goes back for years, but in recent history, ever since the firing of Teresa Weatherspoon, ever since the way that she was treated in that organization, and then later Angel was treated and how they've done things, nothing good is gonna come to you. And that is just really what it is. The Sky are on a five game losing streak, and it's not an accident. And I think it will continue. They have done move after move after move that makes literally no sense. And if you think it makes sense, then you're just being their PR at this point. They signed multiple players that were injured. They knew they were injured. So for the people who are coming at the injured players, it's not their problem. These players have been openly injured.
One thing I'ma do is take some money. One
Why
thing I'ma do is take some money. You think I'm gonna be like, nah, I'm injured. I don't want that $1 million.
Why not?
Nigga
Why
already got
not?
enough money.
So you're building around a team that has more people darn near on the injured list than they do have active. Why wouldn't they be on a 5-game losing streak?
And let me tell you the other side of that. Chicago is not the team you go to get well. They still don't have a facility. They're I don't know what's going on with training. Last season they showed that they did not have the best training staff. To me, I don't know. I don't know what needs to be done there. It seems like they're doing a lot and not enough at the same time, and it's kind of
Yeah.
exhausting. As a Chicago fan, as a fan of Chicago in general, lifelong Chicagoan, it's very exhausting to have teams that you feel are not trying to win. So, what I will give to the Bulls is they have decided they're going to invest in their community. They just broke ground on their multi-billion-dollar community enrichment project where they're bringing parks, bringing recreation, they're bringing apartments, they're bringing jobs. Right? They want it to be the new Fulton Market. They're also it, hired someone who they believe can build a winning team. You see that there's a shift there. The same ownership group owns the White Sox. You see a shift there. All right. White Sox were dead last in the power rankings. Now they're 12. So now we have two. The Bears, the stadium mess is the stadium mess. But on the winning part, they're trying to win. They hired Ben Johnson. Now we're trying to win. Okay. The Blackhawks, they kind of the little brother right now, but they've had a couple of really good draft picks. They're building. We as a city, we're seeing all of our teams go back on the upswing. It's starting to feel like the 90s again, where everybody's winning. I do not want the Sky to be the last on the list. It's supposed to be Ladies First, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's where you're missing. I think that's where you're wrong here, Jay. The Sky are trying to win. They're just completely incompetent, and they're showing that in every move that they make. When you're trying to win and you're trying to restructure, you have to get to the root of the problem, and you have to uproot it, and you have to change. Instead of that, the Sky continue to put band-aids on bullcrap, and that's why nothing good is coming to them. When they brought in Rakia and Dejanay and Azare, it looked good on the surface. It was very surface level. Skylar Diggins, it looked surface. Sky, one of my favorite players, is not even playing the way she normally plays in this system, right? And then Rakia, who was honestly bailing them out in many ways because of her offensive production and what she gives on the court, when she went down, it has completely fallen apart. And that is because it wasn't built on anything meant to last. And until the Sky do a hard look on the way they run things from top down, it doesn't matter what they do. It's not going to work. And as a person who's a part of I am a season ticket holder as well. I have been even before I covered the Sky as part of a package. I speak to other season ticket holders. The arenas are not full like they were with Angel. The season ticket holders, they see what's going on there, and there has to be a reckoning for change. But again, they turned profit, from my understanding, when they had Angel. I don't know if they're going to continue to turn profit with the way they're going about things. And sometimes money is the only thing that moves you. And so maybe at some point they will do a hard look at the way they do everything, the way they have done things, the way they have treated legends like Teaspoon, the way they have treated their star player who was willing to do everything for the city, brought them a lot of money, like Angel. You can't just put band-aids on that and think things are going to be fixed. However, when players need a place to go and when there's money to be spent, the Sky are going to be able to pull in players because there's only so many teams in the W. That's just how that goes. On top of the fact that it's a major city, Chicago is very center for a lot of people to get to. Of course, if you have the opportunity if you need to play somewhere, they're going to always be able to get people for one reason or not. But when you have people who are coming here for other reasons, or they're coming here because they're able to get a contract here and maybe didn't work other places, you're going to get what you get. The Sky is still not a premier destination. No one is choosing to go here.
That's sad.
And that's just what it is. I mean, the Sky was able to get Natasha Cloud because unfortunately she wasn't getting offers from other places. I don't think. At least she hadn't received an offer. She
Yeah.
wasn't offered any place. And so this is what you get. It's a bunch of hodgepodge of mess.
Yeah. I can Yeah, I agree with you. It's just it's very unfortunate. Like I said, it seems like it's shifting everywhere else where other people are starting to get free agents or people want to start coming here because Chicago is really a great city. Now, as a huge gatekeeper of Chicago, that please everybody don't come here. But free
Why would
agents
you choose?
who are
Jay? Why
good.
would you choose the Chicago Sky if you were a free agent in the W and you had options? Why would you come here?
Other than the fact that there are a lot of opportunities for branding and partnerships, I don't know as a free agent that I would want to come here other than the money. And it's a night like if I'm just coming here for the money, if I'm gonna choose a team just for the money, the rest of that stuff don't matter. Sure, Chicago's great. And food, entertainment, all of that stuff, it's cool. But also, I'm a professional athlete and I'm here to play ball. I'm not really participating in a lot of that stuff during the course of the season. So I don't know if that's going to be that big of a pull to necessarily come here. So I don't know. If I had to choose, if I had to choose, I would want to go to Atlanta. Feels like they just have such a happy locker room. They feel like they like each other. I wanted to ask their coach about that last night about how they seem to actually get along. The same with the Aces. They seem to get along. The Lynx, they seem to get along.
I think
But
there's intentionality. When you look at the way the Aces were put together, when you look at the way Atlanta was put together in particular, I think Minnesota does a really good job of this. You can tell that they're trying to bring people in that not only have the talent, but also would fit the flow and really kind of vibe and go together and build chemistry. I I think that's really important. When you're just bringing in people from here, there, everywhere, you get here, there, everywhere type of vibes, because a lot of people are coming here and they're getting a big paycheck. Azare's getting a big paycheck. Sluta's getting a big paycheck to sit on the bench and street clothes. There's a lot of people getting a big
she's
paycheck,
getting a big paycheck to coach and GM.
whichever, whatever she says she doing, right? So it's a waste of time. Anyway, the Sky are in a 5-game losing streak, and I don't anticipate them getting any better. We can move on.
Um, uh, Something has actually been bothering me
What?
about this particular I don't know if it's because of the new fans or just because they're trying to market to the W a specific way because there's a lot of women who are fans.
Yeah.
But it's the way that everything is so clickbaity. Everything is playing up certain stereotypes. Everything is playing up all types of stuff. So last night, Angel Reese and BG got tied up.
That was so funny though, by the way.
It was funny because they got tied up. BG is very strong, and she's
And BJ
also
and Angel love each other, by the way, so which
they
made it
do. She's
yeah.
very strong, but she's also very tall. So she was kind of shrugging Angel off. Angel hit the ground pretty hard. It ended up being a flagrant one because it looked worse than it was. Angel's face when she was on the ground was literally like, but why?
It's
But
like, help me, help
right.
me.
BG picked her up,
It was
bringing
fine.
her up. They was cool. They was kikiing.
Yeah.
Right. And then on the side, it got upgraded to a flagrant one. It's the same thing that happened. Something when Angel got a flagrant on AT. And then she goes, I learned it from you. And then AT is keep these players do not have any level of animosity towards each other. They're all cool. BG used to play for Atlanta last season. They still like her. They asked in a post game presser. I think it was Alicia who said, I miss BG." So it bothers me that the narrative this morning was BG gets $500 fine. Now, given there's jokes about the fine cost, it is not $500 is not a big fine in the grand scheme of things for most professional athletes.
And there's
But
fines linked to there's actual just fines linked to you get fined for technicals, you get fined for flagrant one. So it's
Mhm.
not like it's anything out of the ordinary. There are fines associated with yeah. I think it's a couple of things. There's a couple of players in the W that you get clicks off of being anti-black, transphobic, homophobic, all the things, right? And BG is one of those players where people feel like they can get their not only get their jokes off, but they also can get their clicks and views off by making what she does as malicious or manly or aggressive. And unfortunately, that's the name of the game where negativity sells, and she's just not immune to that. I personally don't like it, and I do my best to ignore it. And if you're out here listening to the women's cut, when you see this type of banter and headlines, the best thing you can do is not engage because when people engage with BG gets flagrant one, da, da, and sometimes they're putting it that way so you can go look at it. And then you're gonna go look at it and you're gonna see this is Angel battling with the she don't Angel 6'3", 6'4". She don't care that you 6'9", whatever. She don't care. She's battling, she's fighting for the board. And BG like, girl, you know what I mean? That's just how they get down. And
yeah,
that's just it's not a big deal. But of
yeah.
course, people are gonna make it more than what it is for clicks and views. And like you said, this is called W clickbait, and that's all it is. And
I
we just
guess
have
I
to do
just
our best.
wanna I guess I want to implore people not to. It's very difficult not to defend your faves in the comments. Like that's
Mhm.
it. It's very difficult not to defend your faves in the comments.
But
So
that's what they
you
want you
know,
to do.
even if you look at it now, me going into there, it engagement numbers are based on likes. It's based on watching a video, right, for a specific number of seconds. It's based on any type of interaction.
Shares.
Now, and shares, all that stuff. Now, given I might go in just because I like to see what people are talking about, I might go in and read. I don't like, even if I like the comment, I'm not liking it. I'm not responding. And the reason why is because I don't want these things to show up on my feed
Continuously. Yeah.
continuously. However, if I follow certain entities, I follow Yahoo Sports, it's gonna pop up. If you follow certain entities, and even to the point where they're asking questions, there was a little dust up in the game yesterday where Lish pushed somebody that fell down. That was cool. There were two questions about that, three questions about that in the post game presser, and they clearly didn't want to answer the first one. And then it keeps getting asked. So I guess I want us to be more responsible because I know that that's what the bait is. I know that people want to know the answers to these questions, but either they're going to tell us a trusted source because they're not going to tell you. They're not going to say that in a post game. They're not going to say that in a post game. Now, they might tell somebody who's a sideline reporter, and then they do it during like a bigger game or whatever. But they're not. It's just I just want us to be more responsible because these are women, and not that they need to be treated any differently. Because that's a question that they would ask in the NBA. Why did you push them? That's a question that they would ask in the NBA. But they wouldn't ask it several times. Once it's asked and answered,
Yeah, I think the best thing viewers can do is not make that the highlight of everything that they want to know. Because these reporters who are a lot of times not getting even paid substantially to cover these games, they're asking the questions that viewers want to know. And I think if the viewers actually care more about the games and the real rivalries and less so about heated little scuffles and this and that, then we would have less of those questions. Um, but I definitely think, ask it once. Your job as a reporter is not always to be people's bestie. You can ask the question once, and if it's clear that they don't want to answer it and it's really not pertinent to the game, then I think at that point you move on. But I also think there's a tug and war between some reporters wanting to be besties and want to ask like PR questions, PR meaning promotion questions, instead of actually asking the questions that people want to know from the game. So if they ask that question, they clearly like it ain't nothing, move on. Then I think it's just best to move on because you did your job. You asked one. If you really just want to know. So
Yeah. Facts, facts, facts. Now, moving on to something else that's happening right now. Now, we had where's the French Open, friend?
I'm not doing that. Roland Gar Roland Garros. Okay, she's making fun of me because I want to say Garros. Okay, I want to say Garros because I'm Cuban, part Cuban, and if I see the two R's, I want to roll it. It is rolling. I don't speak French.
That's the
Okay,
French Open. It's the French Open. We're gonna stick
I
with
know
that.
they eat you up. I cover tennis, and they eat you up. They do not want you to call it the French Open. You cannot call it that. They will be like, it ain't the French Open. It's Roland Garros. So there you go,
Oh, you
guys.
can say it when you got an attitude, but
Oh, there we go.
you just gotta say it angry. Um, you
Roland
just gotta
Garros
say it
it's
angry.
full of upsets. It's full of upsets. My girl Naomi out. My girl Coco out. My girl Sabalenka out. I don't even know who's in. I think Tiga,
Yeah.
she's out. I don't know who in.
I'm about to say sapling out. There is an unranked player. I think that's who you're talking about. I do not know how to say this name at all, so I'm not going. It's Maha, I think is the first name.
Okay.
Um, and she is unranked and killing. She is killing. She made it through to the semifinals, so I think that's who everybody is kind of rooting for now that everybody's faves are out. Um, and or now that everybody's least faves are out. But yes, it's been crazy there, and the men's side has also been kind of crazy. There
Yeah.
was that very viral moment where the guy basically said in the post game presser that women shouldn't be umpires or line judges, or I'm not quite sure what they're called, so apologize, tennis folks. But women can see just as well as men can. It's not really you really don't need a certain piece of equipment to sit in a chair and determine if things are out or if people are using the proper manners because that's their job. You are using your proper tennis manners, and did the ball go out?
Yeah,
And
the
if
projection that men have and the crash outs that some men have when things don't go their way, like the transition from doing poorly to misogyny is like it's very thin. Like we jump from like poor performance to projecting misogynistic ideals really quickly, and I'm glad that there were repercussions and people came down on him for that because women will not be your punching bag. You know how hard it is to work to be a woman, whether you're any type of referee, umpire, that job as a woman, especially when you're calling male games, is so difficult. And those women statistically have to be better at their job to
yeah,
even get there.
yeah,
And so to scapegoat a woman because you did poorly, it's expected. But
right. She not swinging
it
that
should.
racket, bro. She not swinging a racket. She
Yeah,
not running. She not running. She not running between the lines. That's not the reason why you lost, bro. You just got handed, and sometimes you gonna get handled, and sometimes somebody's gonna handle you. You just
yeah,
gotta walk away and say whatever. It's not the same as let's say, I know that there was a thing, and we're gonna talk about her a little bit with Serena, where she had a tip with one of the judges because of they thought something was a particular slight. If that's what it is, then say that about the judge. She didn't go back and say, I don't think that male judges should be over here with women. She didn't say that. She had
Yeah,
issues
those
with
type of
her.
generalizations are a lack of intelligence. It's a lack of intelligence and a lack of decorum, you know, yeah, anyway.
This why. But our girl has announced that she is coming back, following her sister's footsteps yet again. We know Venus came out of retirement. She said, gas to eye, and so was insurance. And I need to get back on that. And I understand that because professional athletes, they go through so much with their body. People are
Yeah,
like, "Oh, she's a millionaire," and all this other stuff, but it doesn't matter how much money you have. Insurance care is expensive. Care is expensive. Think about how much it costs for somebody to just go to the emergency room for a normal person, and you don't play a professional sport, so your whole body don't hurt the same way, right? They have wear and tear on their body. Venus has a condition, but we know that Serena has a lot going on. As athletes age, it just takes a lot more for them, a lot more care in general. So a lot of times people do come out of retirement. Serena, on the other hand, is not coming out of retirement for the insurance. She's coming out of retirement for the love of the game.
she is. And I think people don't really realize I saw this conversation about how Coco maybe, maybe should take time off so she can fix a few things that she's been struggling with. But the tennis schedule is very rigorous. They're going darn near 11 months out the year, darn near. And you have to participate in the WTA. You have to participate in the matches, so you can be ranked, and you can't just like take a lot of matches off, and so it's very rigorous. And so I understand how ultimately when you get older, you want to be a mom, you want to take care of family, you'll take time off. But I'm excited that she's back. She did her announcement on Nike with Nike. And so I'm interested to see if she's gonna like get back on the circuit or what she's gonna do. I'm not sure if you read the release, but I don't know if she said she's gonna get back on the circuit or not, or what's gonna come of this.
I do know she said she's gonna be doing a couple of the, more minor tournaments, and I'm gonna be honest, those tickets are gonna be very hard to get, but if anything is near Chicago, Imma try to go see her because it's something that I've never done. I've never gone to a professional tennis match, so I think that that would be very interesting, and I wanna see the GOAT play. Serena is considered by many the greatest athlete of all time, the greatest individual athlete of all time, just because of her sheer dominance. And
Right.
I think that right now, even unpolished and haven't been out the game, she's gonna win some matches.
Yeah.
She's gonna win some matches. We saw Venus put up a great show. And low key, I would love for them to come back and just do a little doubles real
And
quick.
do some and right.
Just
Well,
do a little doubles real quick.
she will be at the Queen's Club in London, okay, HSBC Championship. This is a WTA event, and so we'll see if she gears up and if she gets back on the circuit or not. But it's just a joy to see her play. The level of dominance that Serena had, we haven't really seen since. I mean, there's been amazing tennis players, but Serena Williams is just one of one.
Yeah.
And so to see what she's doing coming back, and then we have Allison Felix try to see if she can come back for the Olympics in LA. I love seeing some of the goats get back. And I just
Yeah.
think it's not about just seeing if they can be who they were all these years. It's just
They're
it's just
not
a
gonna be
test to
the
see
same. It's just
what
seeing.
what premier athletes look like with taking time off,
Yeah.
in their 40s and in late 30s. I'm really excited.
I really appreciate it because you're seeing the ability, again, talking about medicine and science, the ability for athletes to continue to play for so long after having a long storied career is just such a welcome. We in the 70s and the 80s, if you got a ACL injury or if you got any of that, you were done. It didn't matter. it did not matter how old you are. Gail Sayers tore his knee up, I think after 5 seasons. He's a Hall of Famer. He held records that it took Devin Hester to break, and he only played like 4 seasons, 4.5 seasons.
Yeah.
Imagine, uh, 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 I guess I thank doctors for being able to um for being able for us to be able to see these athletes for a longer period of time. So I'm just excited to see it. I think that women's tennis is already more popular than men's tennis, or it was for a while Serena was in, and then it kind of tapered off. And I think that that is the dominance, like you were saying, because you went from Steffi Graf, who was absolutely dominant, then you went to Venus, who was dominant, and then you got to Serena, who was absolutely dominant. And there
Right.
we just have not had a number one in the same sense. Now, I'm not thinking that she's going to be a number one or any of that stuff, but I just love to see it.
Agreed.
All right, friend. Um, Today was good. Just to end on a high note, because I'm always excited about television and movies and all that other stuff. What are you watching?
I'm watching Love Island. Love Island kicked off yesterday, and we do have a women's sports actress, Beatriz. Okay, she's a Paralympic bronze medalist, right? And so we have an athlete in the villa, and there's a couple of athletes in the villa as well. So, and she's already been shaking the table. I won't ruin it for you guys, but she's coming in and she's not playing no games. So she's holding it down. I think she's going to be in the villa for a while, but I've been really enjoying it. Are you gonna watch Love Island?
All my friends watch Love Island, friend, but that's so much of a commitment. That's like watching a soap opera for real. Like y'all be in it every day.
But that's the thing, you have to watch it because I'm
Ugh.
talking to you about it regardless, so you might as well know what I'm talking about.
We had this conversation before. We had this conversation before. You tell me the things, I'll be like, for real, girl. I'm telling you, before between you and the rest of my friends, it's gonna be that way. I will say this. I saw I Love Boosters. Please go see it. Kiki is to me unmatched. I know everybody been talking about her and Sean Evans and shipping it. I ship it too. I love Boosters. It just came out. It is Kiki Palmer, Lakeith Stanfield, Taylor Page. If anybody watched Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, she played the love interest that was going between Viola Davis and Chadwick Boseman. I
Okay,
absolutely love Taylor Page. She was also in Zola. I am a big fan of Kiki Palmer in comedies. This is more of a dark comedy, and I am somewhat obsessed with the director of this movie, which is Boots Riley. He's a rapper, and he decided to make his first movie, which is Sorry to Bother You, which starred Lakeith. That was
okay,
Lakeith's first one, based on an album, and he made this one based on a song from an album. I just think it's creativity is kind of cool. So if anybody here is looking for a movie recommendation, Kiki Palmer is amazing in this. I want to see a movie with her, a comedy with her and Regina Hall, where Regina Hall plays her mama. They are just so funny. There's
yeah,
naturally funny people. And they say Chicagoans, and she's from Robbins, Chicagoland area. Chicagoans are very funny.
we are.
Like we just like naturally
It's
funny.
a subtle funny too.
It is. So I'm recommending that, but I saw it and I'm definitely recommending. So it's a good summer for movies. I'm just slowly waiting for the Gilded Age to come back on, and then I'll tell you all about that. And you won't have watched it, so we'll be even.
Okay, fair. Alright. Well, look, I know a couple of people probably mad because they was in the cut, especially the Chicago Sky and their 5-game losing streak, but I ain't telling them nothing that they should already know what I'm saying, and so, hopefully, at some point, they take my advice, but, at this point, just be glad that you made the cut. Bye.
Chicago Clubhouse Network Production.